Don't waste your youth. Look with me in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. It says, remember your Creator in the days of your youth. Imagine for 1 second, you are talking to the richest person on earth. You have an appointment to talk to the richest person on earth. I'm not talking about a millionaire. I'm not talking about a billionaire. I'm talking about a trillionaire. This person is the most experienced person, the wisest person who has ever lived. And this person is giving you some wisdom because they've been through it. They've had all of the money. They've had all of the experiences. They had all of the influence necessary. And now at the end of their life, you have a one-on-one meeting with the richest person on the earth. And not only that, the richest person gives you a book. Because at the end of all of their experience, at the end of everything that they encountered, they actually have a book as a testimony of their experience. And inside of the book you read, vanity of vanity, it is all vanity. By the way, this wise person has actually wrote a book. The book that he wrote is called Ecclesiastes. And when we read the book of Ecclesiastes, we see the wisdom of the richest person, Solomon, the richest person who ever lived, the wisest person who ever lived, the most experienced person who has ever lived. Now, here is the advice that the wise one is sharing to each and every one of you today. Ecclesiastes 12, verse 1. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth. It didn't just say remember God. He was much more specific. He said, don't just remember God. It says, remember your Creator. You didn't create yourself. You didn't form yourself. You didn't say, you know what, I'm gonna have my ear this shape, I'm gonna give myself this skin color, I'm gonna give myself this hair texture. No! Remember your Creator. The world wants to tell you that you came as a result of an accident. But the psalmist or the author says, remember that you have a Creator. You see, when we are young, it's easy to forget. When you're full of strength, when you're smart, you're intelligent, you're handsome, you're beautiful, it's easy to forget. As I go deeper into this text, did you know the word Creator here is actually plural? And so it started to mess with my mind. Why would the author use the word plural and the word Creator in a plural way? Well, maybe it's because this may mess with you all a little bit. Maybe it's because we have more than one Creator. Let me explain. You have God who created you. But who did God use to actually give birth to you? That's actually a Creator also. So you have the ultimate Creator, you have the original Creator, but the Creator used someone down here. And that person, a seed fell into their womb and they carried you for 9 months. And eventually this person gave birth to you. So you have God as a Creator, but you also have your mom as a Creator. And so remember your Creator God, but don't neglect your parents. There's something that we owe the mothers. There's something that we owe our parents. What do we owe them? We owe them respect. When they listen, when they talk, we have to listen. Is that all right, young people? Those of you who are part of the youth, does that make sense? When they give advice, you listen carefully. Pastor Melchi, my mom is not saved. It doesn't matter. Pastor Melchi, my mom doesn't even come to church. It doesn't matter. Pastor Melky, my mom's not a believer. It doesn't matter. Pastor Melky, my mom talks a lot. It doesn't matter. Pastor Melky, my mom's always nagging. It doesn't matter. She is still your mom. And there's a respect. There's an honor. There's something that we owe them. Why? Because they are a creator that God used in order to birth us. Don't wait until you're 70. Don't wait until you're 80. Don't wait until you're 90. Remember your creator during the days of your... Pay attention, this is very important. There's a principle in the Bible that God will bless everything if you give him the first. So we give God the very first 10% of our income. Why? Because we're trusting that God would bless the rest. We call that tithing. I give God the first minutes of my day. Why? Because I'm trusting that God would bless the rest of my days. We call that devotion. If you give God the very first, then you can trust the Lord for the rest. Now, we all have different phases of life. The first 0 to 25 years of your life, we call it the introductory phase. You're being introduced to life. You see, when I was younger, as a teenager, even at the age of 14 or 15, I thought I was a know-it-all. I thought I was smarter than my parents. I thought I was smarter than my teachers. I thought I was smarter than everybody. But really, the first 25 years of life, you're really being introduced to life. You have no idea what life really is yet. Why? Because you're too young to have had so many big experiences. You're being introduced to life. So you have the introductory phase. The second phase, you have the productivity phase. From the ages of 26 to 50. This is where probably you'll get married. This is where probably you will have children. This is where probably you will have a career. You know, a lot of us here, we are within that age range. We are in the productivity phase. This is where you are called to work and be productive. The next stage, so we have introductory, we have productivity. The next phase is maturity. This is between 51 and 75. This is where you've had a lot of experiences. Now you're wiser and now you're more mature. Because you've made so many mistakes in life. You've had a lot of debt. You went bankrupt before. You've done all of these things, and now you are more mature at 51 through 75. And now you're in a position where you're actually giving people advice. Why? Because you are in the maturity phase of life. And then you have the legacy phase. This is between 76 and whenever God takes you home. Right? When you're in the legacy phase, what's in your mind is, man, what am I leaving on this earth? Like, what impact? What am I leaving for my children? What am I doing to, I'm about to be out of here. What am I really gonna leave as a legacy? So you have introductory, you have productivity phase, you have maturity phase, and then you have legacy. Pay attention. It is the biggest tragedy of life for you to wait till right here for you to remember God. The biggest tragedy of life is the person who lives their life from the time that they are born until the time that they're, and this is when you finally start to think about God. Why wait until the legacy phase for you to start enjoying your life in God? Why not give him your life why not let him use you? Why not serve him right here from the beginning? Now, it doesn't mean that at this stage, if you give your life to God, that God's not going to use you, right? It doesn't mean that. It's just, let me compare it to, let's say someone gave you $1 billion at the age of 90. Okay, I appreciate $1 billion. Trust me, I appreciate it. But I'm 90 years old, man. I really can't enjoy the $1 billion because it's kind of already too late. Where was that $1 billion when I was 18, when I was 19, when I was 20? It's the same principle with God. Don't give your life to God right here, but give your life to God right here. Serve him right here. Let him use you right here. Be in his house right here. Let him use your life right here. You don't have to wait when you're 90. You don't have to wait when you're old. Give your life over to God now. If you give him the first, the introductory part, if that part belongs to God, then the rest of your days will be happy days. Oh, do I have a testimony? Do I have some people who serve God? Do I have some people who found God when they were little? Do I have some people who started to serve God when they were small? Somebody shout hallelujah. Give him the first of your years, and your last years will be happy. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for drugs to take your life. Don't take for alcohol to take your life. Don't waste your youth.